So what then would HR professional and head of ICT, head of HR and head of ICT do with that kind of information that you've given them regarding their landing pages, their LinkedIn profiles, and really how to position for jobs that they're recruiting for and how to attract the best talent? Yeah.
I think we're seeing that, again, let's talk a little bit about the pandemic in this context, right? There's a phrase that has become very said, possibly oversaid or overused, which is digital transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And digital transformation in a nutshell is the idea that as an organization, you don't change what you do, but you change how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you become digital in many of these processes you have in your organization that you would use. So case in point, we as a company at .savvy have been working now for over 2.5 years remotely. From the very early phase of the pandemic, we knew we needed to shut down the office because we were a relatively small office. People were very compact in there, and it just wouldn't have been safe for any one of us. So we started working remotely. We had to learn a new work process of doing so. Mm-hmm. And now it has become our norm. We still have an office where some of our team members go occasionally, and that's how we're operating as a business to date.
Mm-hmm.
But what has happened as a result of the pandemic, many organizations, large and small, including the largest, people like Safaricom, had to work from home. And many organizations that work in our space, even digital marketing today, some of them still don't have, some of them actually gave up their offices.
Mm-hmm.
They decided that they were going to go into a complete digital workflow. They meet as a team maybe once or twice a month in a co-working space like Office.
Yeah.
And then they come together in a boardroom and can see each other, talk to each other, have a bit of camaraderie. And that is how they now interact. But pretty much the entire workflow has changed. So when you look at how organizations are operating today, you'll find a scenario where I was recently talking to our head of people and culture in our organization, and we started debating this conversation about adopting a hybrid model.
Yeah.
Right? Do we start having people coming 2-3 times
Once
a week?
Uh-huh.
Get that FaceTime, get that,
Yes.
brainstorms feel stronger when you
Yeah.
have proximity in person.
Yeah.
And, he sort of whispered in my ear that that's an interesting idea, but what I'm hearing from the team is that some people, if you were to actually decide to go full-time back to the office, may actually seek to resign.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to say is that when you
Yeah.
talk about the Microsofts and the Googles and the
Yeah.
IBMs, we're also grappling with these issues post-pandemic. Is you have a workforce that is telling you, in no uncertain terms,
Yeah.
if you do not give me the option to work from home or generally work on my own terms,
Yeah.
I may consider working for another employer who offers that. And coming back to your earlier question, the question then becomes that organizations now have to adapt to their workforce rather than the other way around. Because with all the options available to them and the fact that employers of choice, so the kind of employers that and brands that people want to work for, the biggest names, are saying to their workforces that, you know what, it doesn't have to be 9 to 5 in the office. Come in a couple of days, come in when needed. We're going to be flexible and accommodate you. Or in some instances, some people are telling us that, I work in an organization that has been very clear that they do not intend to see me in person. All they care about is what I deliver day to day.
Yeah.
So work becomes not a place you go to, but a thing that you do,
Yeah.
which is what it should always have been.
Yeah.
Rather than somebody hovering behind you to see what
Yes,
you're doing.
yeah.
And you measure productivity from that point of view. Now, of course, when we transition to a virtual scenario, we found that there were many instances where we had to kind of adapt new policies. So, for instance, we had a work from home policy that we need to expand to cater for the fact that when you're working remotely, because we provide you with access to internet, we provide you with airtime for your phone so you can operate remotely, clients can call you, you can call clients. We had to expand that policy to accommodate that new reality. So for instance, between 9 and 5 p.m., your phone must be on and available and reachable, right? You must be in a position where we can only measure productivity by you going to the project management platform so that we can see that you're checking off your tasks. We meet only once a week for status because we use technology to track productivity. And it becomes very clear very fast when somebody's not doing what they need to do. Because all you're doing is you're checking off the boxes, you're looking at the timelines, you expect a productive outcome by a certain day and a time, and if it's not there, that's how I measure your productivity. It's no longer about how many times I called you in a day, or whether you're sending me 20 emails, I'm looking at the outputs, So organizations need to start thinking about workflows that are based on technology.
Yeah.
The more extreme type of scenario is, and something that we considered at some point, is you have now softwares that you have your team install that has a camera that opens your camera and it does screenshots as well of somebody being productive as they work through the day. Now that is, some could say, is digital surveillance, which becomes part of digital privacy. And we're seeing cases emerging globally where organizations that have these practices as a condition for you to work for them remotely are now sort of under pressure, like, why are you having screenshots or seeing by the camera what somebody's doing day to day? So it's kind of like a mix of, you want to have some level of productivity management or monitoring, but it should not also at the same time exceed the boundaries and become an issue of surveillance, where you're now sort of interfering with somebody's privacy and ability to be comfortable at work.
Okay.
And there are many, many other things that go on and on in this sort of situation. But organizations need to, post-pandemic, through digital transformation, adapt their work processes and policies to accommodate this new reality.
Great insights.